Urgent footsteps shatter the school's silence. Elsa bursts into the room, only to find it empty. Where did she go? Anxiety spreads like wildfire in her chest. Meanwhile, Yvonne falls into an abyss of despair. In the darkness, vicious voices scream, "Nobody loves you. You are worthless," tearing her soul apart. She clutches her head, trembling, trying to escape the roar in her mind. Suddenly, she stands on the precipice, with only circling crows witnessing her crumbling soul. It's not her will. Eerie purple tentacles manipulate her body like a marionette. She fights the force in terror, screaming internally, "No, I will never give up." As she dangles over the edge, the will to live overrides fear. Tears streaming, she reaches toward the sky, desperately begging for salvation. "Someone, save me." In the nick of time, a hand grabs her. Elsa hangs upside down, refusing to let go. They land heavily, relief washing over them in the trembling aftermath. "Don't run off like that." Elsa scolds, fear masking her anger. As Yvonne recalls the dark mist, Elsa senses the lingering danger and steps in to protect her. Elsa offers a warm embrace to soothe the trembling girl. But in her arms, Yvonne awakens to a terrifying realization. She has been reincarnated into a game world. The cruel, villainous system activates instantly. A cold countdown accompanies lethal options: push her or watch her die. Yvonne stares in horror, cold sweat soaking her back. Defying the order triggers a vision full of red warnings. A punishment shock surges through, proving the system's cruelty strikes blindly, even as she tries to protect. Seeing Elsa collapse in pain from the system's backlash, Yvonne's heart breaks. She curses this absurd, villainous fate, overwhelmed by a deep sense of powerlessness. To protect her love, she must push her away. This is just a test. Yvonne lies through tears, using the excuse of a destined soulmate to distance Elsa from herself. The words trigger a buried memory. Under the sun, her mother once gently stroked her head, saying talent is both a gift and a test, and fate will lead the way. Young Elsa was full of doubt, questioning her mother's certainty. Her mother's eyes shimmered with tears, hiding a heavy truth within that complex gaze. "You must survive to the end." Her mother's final command echoes like thunder. That fierce love became Elsa's only pillar of strength against a cruel fate. But fate showed no mercy. The gavel fell, convicting Yvonne's family of treason. Stripped of titles and sentenced to exile, the verdict marked the beginning of their separation. Even in chains, facing judgment, that proud soul smirked. She responded to the humiliation with a cold smile, her unyielding defiance branded into memory. Back to the present. In the classroom, Elsa is baffled by Yvonne, who eagerly begs to be bullied. Where is the vicious villainess? Why is she acting like this? Elsa clutches her head, her visions of perfect Otome game heroes shattering. The massive gap between fantasy and reality leaves her questioning everything. Suddenly, a destined soulmate CG pops up in her mind. Elsa slams the table in rage. "Don't just pop up like that." Yet this damn bond seems impossible to sever. Panicked by Yvonne's declaration to end it all, Elsa lunges forward. She grabs her wrist, voice trembling, clinging to her as if to a lifeline. Yvonne shakes her off, using her family's disgrace as a shield. But Elsa, eyes brimming with tears, doesn't retreat. Instead, she confesses her desperate desire for this bullying. "Are you a masochist?" Yvonne screams in disbelief. Yet Elsa's gaze remains clear and resolute. She willingly offers herself as a stepping stone to restore Yvonne's prestige. The truth strikes Yvonne like lightning. This silly girl is trying to save her. Guilt floods in, but as she tries to flee from this heavy kindness, the system's cold chime returns. The damned villainous system is back. The red countdown ticks like a death sentence. If she doesn't hurt Elsa, her family faces ruin. Fear instantly chokes her. Cornered, Yvonne tremblingly picks up a glass of water. It's the mildest harm she can conceive. She approaches the unsuspecting Elsa, her heart waging a violent war. The water splashes. What should be humiliation feels almost playful. Seeing Elsa merely with wet hair, Yvonne smiles in relief. Does this even count as bullying? Immediately after the splash, a blushing Yvonne hands over her dry jacket. Wrapped in the warmth, Elsa beams with satisfaction. "Will you keep bullying me in the future?" From that day on, their relationship blurs into something undefinable. Yvonne stares at the girl who welcomes every torment, utterly baffled. What is going on in her head? In the garden, Elsa's sudden back hug makes Yvonne's heart skip a beat. She flusteredly pushes her away to hide her shyness, demanding, "Aren't you afraid of me?" Why be afraid? Elsa's smile outshines the roses behind her. Faced with such directness, Yvonne's tsundere mask shatters, inwardly wailing. She is just too cute. Trying to prove her villainy, Yvonne brings up the past. But Elsa fondly recalls the chalkboard graffiti incident with sweet nostalgia, making Yvonne want to die of embarrassment instead. Flashback to that graffiti incident. The system maliciously ordered her to pair Elsa's name with the class's ugliest boy. Such a vile tactic filled Yvonne with deep disgust. She can't drag an innocent into this. Yvonne has an epiphany and frantically writes her own name. Seeing Elsa love Yvonne everywhere, she tearfully consoles herself. Loophole exploited. As long as Elsa cleans it during duty tomorrow, no one will know. Yvonne calculates perfectly, thinking this will remain a secret farce before dawn. But the moment she steps into class the next day, Yvonne suffocates. Every word is still there. The class's eerie silence weighs like a boulder. She just wants to vanish. Can I erase it now? Elsa is actually asking for permission. Yvonne's ears burn with shame as she screams internally. Just erase it. Why ask me for that? In this moment, Yvonne confirms her helplessness again. Forced to play the villain, yet fully accepted by her victim. Under the system's coercion, an absurd yet real bond forms. Worse, Elsa intoxicatedly recalls Yvonne's possessive claim. Only I can bully her. Seeing Elsa's adoration, Yvonne completely crumbles in a storm of cringe. Please, just stop. Facing Elsa's sharp interrogation, Yvonne breaks into a cold sweat, desperately trying to conceal the system's existence before her secret is laid bare. Elsa's confession burns with passion, but Yvonne, terrified of their tragic fate, crumbles and pushes her away, fleeing in despair. Recalling that shy yet firm, "I like you," Yvonne feels a bittersweet mixture of emotions, foreseeing 3 long years trapped in this twisted relationship. Despite bearing the burden of a villainess, the heavy weight of affection under the sunlight creates an unspoken bond within Yvonne's resistance. As the scene shifts, the bullying script is flipped. Elsa embraces the villainess from behind, her eyes filled with suffocating possessiveness. Yet in a corner of the campus, true malice creeps in as the bully Alta and her lackeys shatter the peace of Elsa's solitary meal. Facing vicious insults about her traitor father, Elsa continues eating without flinching, though her eyes betray a chilling calmness. The mockery escalates as Alta, wearing a look of disgusted hypocrisy, reaches down to snatch the bento box she branded as low class. Food splatters across her uniform. Elsa could endure the humiliation, but at the sight of wasted food, her rage instantly ignites. "You food-wasting bitch." Elsa snaps, green light exploding from her chest as a terrifying wave of magic sweeps through the area. Just as panic sets in, Elsa suddenly shifts gears, intoxicatingly fantasizing about how tenderly she would feed Yvonne instead. Snapping out of her delusion, Elsa looks at the dumbfounded bullies with disdain, mocking their amateurish attempts at torment. She excitedly calls out to Yvonne hiding nearby, inviting her to demonstrate real bullying, scaring Yvonne into a frantic refusal of this absurdity. Humiliated and furious, the trio turns their magic on the intervening Yvonne, launching fireballs and ice shards in a lethal strike. While Yvonne worries about the heroine going overboard, Elsa steps forward, her back radiating a terrifying, oppressive aura as she confronts them. Without even an incantation, a massive column of water crashes down like divine punishment, instantly washing away the arrogant trio in a pathetic heap. Watching the seniors flee in terror screaming monster, Elsa instantly switches to victim mode, pouting to Yvonne for comfort. Crisis averted, the Real hunt begins. Elsa cheerfully chases the fleeing Yvonne, demanding her daily dose of bullying. Cornered against the wall, Yvonne has nowhere to run. Elsa closes in with a triumphant smirk, her suggestive "I caught you" turning the air thick and sweet. The sweet chase continues, and the unique daily life of this villainous and heroine has only just begun. The romantic tension snaps instantly. Yvonne shoves Elsa away, frantically denying her racing heart, trying to reclaim her villainous facade. But the system is relentless. A cruel countdown begins, and the mandatory task, imprison Elsa, flashes, backing them into a corner. Misunderstanding the panic, Elsa shyly pulls Yvonne into an empty classroom. Alas, the bright space fails the system's strict sealed room requirement. Even the restroom is rejected. Sighing at the absurdity, Yvonne realizes there's only one place left that fits the twisted rules: the ingredient storeroom. The mere thought of being alone in such a confined space sends her heart racing, fingers nervously toying with her collar. Just as Elsa worries about access, Yvonne triumphantly reveals the golden backup key, beaming with pride at this unexpected convenience. Staring at the key, Elsa's gaze darkens. A transfer student shouldn't bear this burden. She senses the malice directed at Yvonne. No time to hesitate. Elsa grabs Yvonne and pushes open the heavy wooden door. With a creak, they tumble into the unknown darkness. Darkness swallows the light. Yvonne suddenly remembers the game's lore. The heroine Elsa has a severe phobia of the dark. This is her personal hell. As expected, fear crashes over her. Elsa curls up on a box, trembling uncontrollably, her strong facade crumbling completely in the gloom. To dispel the fear, Yvonne chats cheerfully. But this kindness only plunges Elsa deeper into guilt over their past misunderstandings and perceived bullying. Snow falls silently outside, and a suffocating silence fills the room. Standing back to back, their heartbeats echo loudly in the stillness. Yvonne's sincere confession is met with Elsa's panicked, "I hate you." The words cut deep, and Yvonne's tears burst forth, catching Elsa completely off guard. Seeing Yvonne cry, Elsa panics. Faced with the ultimate question, like or hate, she blushes furiously, forced to confront her true feelings. A shy, "I like you" breaks the barrier. Hands quietly intertwine in the dark, the warmth from their fingertips melting away all fear and pretense. But sweetness is fleeting. The system's countdown ruthlessly reminds them of reality. In this small room, time has flown by far too quickly. The warmth of that night lingers, but the morning sun brings a foreshadowing of new troubles about to shatter this brief peace. The next day, shockwaves hit the school. Yvonne appears in a maid outfit. She blushes and blames dirty laundry, but a secret lies beneath this absurd excuse. Mockery stings like poison as students shamelessly ridicule the freak. Elsa hears every word, fists clenching, a fire of indignation igniting in her eyes. It wasn't an accident. Elsa realizes the truth. Yvonne's uniform was maliciously destroyed. The so-called villainess is the one silently enduring real bullying. Yvonne secretly admires how cute Elsa looks, until a realization strikes. This is a game, event CG. Panic sets in. Could this trigger a heroine encounter? Hearing Elsa's financial plight, guilt washes over Yvonne. With a resigned sigh, she awkwardly offers some spare clothes, only to be met with Elsa's eyes sparkling with pure, unexpected delight. Guilt drives Yvonne to promise future help, hoping to fix the plot. Before she can react, Elsa dives into a hug with a sweet "master," leaving Yvonne sputtering and frantically trying to push away the overwhelming affection. Watching Elsa cheer about sitting together, floating in a bubble of pink joy, Yvonne puts on sunglasses to hide her resignation. Being stuck with this model student spells nothing but trouble. Switching from warnings to serious concern, Yvonne demands the truth about the dirty uniform. Her sharp intuition pierces Elsa's defenses, leaving the girl touched and realizing she can hide nothing. Staring at the shredded uniform, rage ignites in Yvonne's eyes. This isn't just a prank. It's a malicious attack on the impoverished heroine. She clenches her jaw, furious at such underhanded bullying. "Why didn't you fight back?" To Yvonne's frustrated question, Elsa simply smiles warmly. Her confession that she only needs Yvonne's kindness leaves Yvonne flustered, blushing and rushing ahead to hide her embarrassment. Sunset gilds the cottage as the lock clicks open. Stepping into their private sanctuary, Yvonne awkwardly turns away, mumbling about shoes to diffuse the subtle tension of bringing someone home. Stepping inside, Elsa enters paradise. She inhales deeply, savoring Yvonne's scent filling the air. Abandoning all restraint, she leans against the table, eyes hazy with bliss, completely immersed in the intoxicating atmosphere. The pile of medical books touches Elsa, revealing how hard Yvonne works for her sick mother. Meanwhile, oblivious to her elevated image, Yvonne stares at the messy living room, mentally kicking herself for the clutter. While smoothing the sofa cover, Yvonne casually drops a bombshell. "Just move in for a while." This clumsy display of kindness instantly shatters Elsa's defenses, leaving her teary-eyed and speechless. The sudden happiness short-circuits Elsa's brain, sending her into a cosmic daze. Yvonne frantically waves her hands, insisting it's just to stop bullying, but her flustered excuse only sends Elsa spinning deeper into a pink vortex of delight. The memory of that rose-scented embrace lingers. Morning birdsong breaks the silence, sunlight falling on the sleeping Yvonne. It seems like a peaceful morning, but yesterday's decision ensures nothing will be ordinary again. A soft voice whispers through the haze. Yvonne murmurs a groggy reply, then bolts upright. Wait, why is Elsa in her bed? The memory of last night's impulsive invitation rushes back, replacing sleep with sheer panic. Turns out, she moved in at light speed last night. Facing Yvonne's angry eviction notice, Elsa not only refuses to leave, but cheekily admires Yvonne's sleeping face, seeming to actually enjoy the command. Get out! Yvonne channels her inner villainous, eyes blazing. But Elsa just smiles obediently. That submissive look makes Yvonne realize she actually wants this reaction. Yvonne refuses to give her that satisfaction. Seeing Elsa look so small in oversized pajamas softens Yvonne's heart. Before she can finish asking why she's in the bed, Elsa's soft, "I wanted to snuggle," sends heat rushing straight to Yvonne's cheeks. To hide her embarrassment, Yvonne delivers a karate chop to Elsa's head, forcibly ending the overly intimate cuddle. Moments later, she's in the kitchen, apron on, grumbling perhaps, but dutifully preparing breakfast nonetheless. Watching Yvonne expertly prep food, Elsa looks crestfallen. Her plan to woo Yvonne with cooking has failed. Sensing her mood, Yvonne sighs and gently pushes her into a chair, her tone bossy but undeniably fond. Morning light floods the table. As Elsa praises the food like it's a gourmet feast, Yvonne looks down at her simple sandwich. She tries to dismiss it, but a small, shy smile betrays her happiness. The peaceful breakfast is shattered as a red warning screen materializes, freezing Yvonne in shock. The villainous system demands she force the heroine to eat her leftovers. In the garden, Elsa embraces the villainous tightly from behind. Despite their opposing roles, the air between them vibrates with undeniable dependence and affection. To complete the task, Yvonne feigns arrogance, pushing the cut sandwich across the table, calling it charity, while unable to meet Elsa's eyes due to guilt. Someone like you is only fit for my leftovers. She crosses her arms, desperately maintaining her villainous persona to mask the panic rising within. Seeing tears well up in Elsa's eyes, Yvonne's defenses crumble instantly. Did she overact? Panic sets in at the thought of truly hurting her. The air at the table thickens as Yvonne anxiously watches the silent Elsa, her heart pounding, bracing herself for a reaction that might break her. Unexpectedly, Elsa complains, pouting about the sandwich being cut. She wasn't worried about dignity, she just desperately wanted an indirect kiss from Yvonne's leftovers. Faced with such suffocating anticipation, Yvonne facepalms in resignation and takes a bite, causing Elsa's eyes to instantly light up with excitement. Accepting the leftover sandwich, Elsa beams with pure bliss, acting as if she's tasting the world's finest delicacy, leaving Yvonne flustered and speechless. After the chaos, they enjoy a moment of peace. Elsa marvels at the expensive cinnamon aroma, acutely aware once again of the vast class difference between them. Mid-conversation, Elsa suddenly begins stripping without hesitation, causing Yvonne to spit out her tea in shock and shout in a flushed panic. Facing Yvonne's protests, Elsa innocently claims it's fine since they're both girls, even inviting Yvonne to peek, completely shattering the noble lady's sense of modesty. Though she protests verbally, when Elsa turns around in that black and white maid outfit, her perfect cuteness undeniably catches Yvonne's eye, making her heart skip a beat. It turns out Elsa took a job to help with expenses. Seeing that bright smile, Yvonne feels a complex surge of emotion. This fool is actually working hard for their future. Realizing Elsa shamelessly expects her to cook dinner, an exasperated Yvonne decides to use this as an excuse to stalk her, checking if the plot is veering toward an unknown male lead. Sitting in the corner of the restaurant, Yvonne pulls her hat down, scanning the area vigilantly, terrified that some random, wild man might appear to steal her little maid away. No matter the noise of the outside world, their bond grows quietly like the blooming white flowers in the garden, pure and steadfast in their embrace. Watching Elsa skillfully serve customers and receive tips, Yvonne observed silently from the shadows. Despite the system locking on, her eyes hold a hidden sense of approval. While Yvonne is lost in thought about Elsa's kind nature, she fails to notice a mischievous figure jumping down nearby. Danger is quietly closing in. Joyful laughter is cut short by a scream as the child barrels forward. Elsa's scalding soup wobbles violently, disaster erupting in the blink of an eye. No time for magic. To protect the child, she grits her teeth and falls backward, bracing herself for the searing pain. The pain never comes. Strong hands steady both her and the tray. Shaken, Elsa looks back, only to find that familiar face. Yvonne pulls her up in a huff and scolds a brat. But when the kid thanks the scary lady, the villainess flushes with embarrassment and rage, her roar echoing through the restaurant. "You idiot!" Yvonne grabs her wrist, her voice trembling with barely concealed fear. Hurting yourself for others. Have you lost your mind? Faced with Elsa's bizarre, trolley problem defense, Yvonne is torn between amusement and annoyance. The bustle of orders breaks the standoff as she awkwardly nudges Elsa, her touch lingering with concern. I'm heading out. The cold words freeze the air. Elsa stares at the empty doorway, the warmth from moments ago feeling like an illusion as loneliness spreads in her heart. She didn't leave. Realizing that Sundara has been waiting outside all along, the gloom in Elsa's heart vanishes, replaced by uncontrollable sweetness and joy. Taking her wages and the manager's timely advice to go have fun with your friend, the light in Elsa's eyes shines brighter than the summer sun. Pushing open the door, sunlight spills in. That golden figure sits there quietly, looking impatient yet infinitely patient. This is their weekend. Don't misunderstand. I just did what anyone would do. Faced with Elsa's sincere gratitude, Yvonne turns away, trying to hide the suspicious blush on her cheeks with coldness. Before Elsa can react, Yvonne switches to forceful mode, dragging her toward the bustling shopping district. Since we're here, you're keeping me company. Walking side by side in the twilight, Elsa's heart races. Is this a date? Meanwhile, Yvonne, still hung up on the earlier danger, continues her scolding with a sharp tongue but a soft heart. You could be more selfish, you know. Yvonne's words strike like a hammer, shattering the hard shell of self-sacrifice Elsa has worn for so long. She looks up in surprise, tears shimmering in her eyes. Would you worry if I got hurt? Faced with the tentative question, Yvonne blurts out, obviously. The moment the words land, both of them turn beet red. Perhaps emboldened by that tenderness, Elsa shouts her heart's desire for all to hear. Well then, I want to make you like me, Yvonne. Faced with such a direct strike, Yvonne may say not in this lifetime, but her feet honestly follow the girl with a brilliant smile, even if it leads to unknown depths. In a corner of the clothing store, Elsa leans in with a ribbon. It's too close, close enough to hear each other's heartbeats, and the romantic tension peaks in this breathless moment. Evie's fingers deftly secure the ribbon, her touch lingering with undeniable fondness. Gazing at her reflection, Yvonne's cheeks flush warm. If she insists on this dress, then she might as well buy it. But you didn't get anything, Yvonne exclaims, only to be pulled into a warm embrace. Evie leans in, eyes closed in pure contentment. For her, the person in front of her is the only prize that matters. Meanwhile, in a lavish restaurant, Yvonne grips the menu, her fingertips whitening slightly. It was supposed to be a scripted villainous role, so why is her heart racing completely off script? Back in the school office, Ms. Yuna is buried under a mountain of work. Just then, Ellie steps in like an angel. Watching the girl kneel to sort the scrolls, a wave of warmth washes over Yuna's heart. But the warmth is fleeting, overshadowed by dark rumors of bullying. Yuna probes gently, eyes heavy with concern, but Ellie's innocent denial only deepens the teacher's growing suspicion. Ellie smiles and heads deeper into the cafeteria. Watching her retreating figure, Yuna's unease spikes. Suddenly, a loud crash echoes from the distance. Crisis strikes in an instant. It was a false alarm, but the chaos isn't over. As a student wobbles past with a towering stack of boxes, Yuna's nerves remain taut. She spots the figure that truly worries her. In the blindingly bright hallway, Ellie struggles under a crushing stack of boxes. She frantically refuses Yuna's help, her evasive eyes screaming, to Yuna's mind, a silent plea for rescue from coercion. As Ellie stumbles around the corner, Yuna clenches her fists, righteous anger igniting. She cannot stand idly by. Meanwhile, deep in the woods, the culprit behind it all sits alone, waiting. What took you so long? Yvonne complains, yet she immediately relieves Ellie of the heavy burden. Seeing the girl panting, her prepared scolding instantly melts into awkward concern. The system's task is complete, but guilt softens Yvonne's heart. She offers food as compensation, only for Ellie to push her luck, opening her mouth for a feeding, turning a punishment into a sweet picnic. Staring at the candied fruit Ellie just bit, Yvonne's face explodes in red, an indirect kiss. Yet behind the bushes, Ms. Yuna watches through the leaves, hallucinating a tragic scene of forced feeding. To Yuna, the blonde noblewoman is a dangerous Medusa. Just as her internal drama peaks, a sharp gaze pierces through. Yvonne snaps her head around, spotting the intruder in their private sanctuary. Who's there? The shout sends the spy into a panic. Yuna scrambles away in her disguise, terrified yet swearing an oath. Next time, she will definitely save her poor student from this demon. Silence returns to the woods. Feigning exhaustion, Ellie leans into Yvonne. Before the tsundere lady can push her away, steady breathing follows. She is truly tired and truly at peace. Time drifts by until Ellie wakes beneath dappled shadows. The lap pillow is soft and warm. Childhood dreams merge with reality. Rubbing her eyes, she basks in the illusion that the whole world is treating her gently. My legs are numb, Yvonne grumbles, yet she hasn't moved an inch. Hearing the affection beneath the complaint, Ellie refuses to get up, their playful bickering sweeter than the birdsong. Ellie gazes up at the profile partially hidden by the book, sunlight haloing the golden hair. In this moment, there is no villainess or heroine, only the feeling that she is the luckiest person alive. Bliss is short-lived. Still floating on cloud 9 in the hallway, Ellie is seized by Yuna. I will save you, the teacher vows deafeningly, while behind the scenes, a four-separation plan silently begins. In the classroom, Ms. Yuna's seating chart becomes absolute law. Yvonne and Ellie are ruthlessly separated to opposite corners. For Yvonne, it may be a safe distance from the system, but it feels like an exile of the heart. Just a seat change. Yet Yvonne sobs as if it's a final farewell, leaving Elsa exasperated but soft-hearted. Under the shade, Elsa isn't angry. Instead, she relishes the interaction labeled bullying that feels more like affection. Elsa desperately denies the flutter in her heart, but memories of the past surge forth like a tide with the breeze. Memories unfold in the dappled sunlight of the forest. Even then, they were unknowingly inseparable. Rewind 3 years. Yvonne stood high above, while the newly enrolled Elsa was trapped in the gloom of isolation. Staring at the vicious curses carved on her desk, Elsa grits her teeth, her palm glowing with magic in a silent attempt to erase the humiliation. Facing the noble sneers, the commoner girl chooses to endure, swallowing all her grievances and tears in silence. Just then, Yvonne barges in with supreme arrogance, coldly declaring her exclusive right to bully Elsa. The chair is yanked back with a sharp screech. Elsa shuts her eyes in terror, expecting another public humiliation. The fall never comes. Yvonne catches her, furiously pointing out the vicious spike on the chair. It was an act of salvation. From then on, the so-called bullying changed flavor, drawing two hearts closer through countless laughable interactions. Just like now, on this bright afternoon, the former villainous and victim share a sweet and peaceful picnic time. However, Yvonne, the reincarnator, hides behind a menu, tearing her hair out over Elsa's completely skewed reaction. Faced with Elsa's barrage of flattery, Yvonne sits on pins and needles, her commoner soul shivering beneath a noble shell. Elsa marvels at noble elegance, unaware that Yvonne, seeing the fake smiles around them, feels helpless against the class divide. Harsh whispers rise again as nobles target the innocent Elsa. Yvonne's fingers tighten instantly around her book, rage igniting. Bad grades and loose lips. Yvonne retorts coldly. In this moment, she is not a villainess, but a shield standing before Elsa. Having shooed away the flies, Yvonne immediately puts on a villain face, confiscating Elsa's textbook, claiming, "This is bullying too." Elsa's heart races, fearing punishment from the strict teacher, only to be shocked as Yvonne spreads the confiscated book open between them. "Since it's bullying, you'll have to share with me." Yvonne turns away, clumsily hiding her tenderness as sunlight falls on the pages. In class, Yvonne commands Elsa to share her book, her harsh tone masking gentle intent. As shoulders touch, Elsa blushes at the scent of perfume, while Yvonne finds herself secretly mesmerized by the heroine's cascading hair. During the break, Elsa gently brushes Yvonne's hair, lost in the silky texture. A fantasy of eternal servitude makes her heart race, but snapping back to reality, the lingering warmth on her fingertips leaves her flustered. Yvonne's unexpected focus during study takes Elsa by surprise. As class ends, Yvonne shuts her book and commands Elsa to leave hers behind, a sudden directive that leaves the heroine blinking in confusion. It was protection all along. Yvonne's casual explanation shatters Elsa's defenses. While Yvonne asks about her flushed face, Elsa spirals into internal conflict, unable to comprehend why a noble would offer such tenderness to a commoner. To hide her embarrassment, Yvonne adopts her villainous persona, claiming the exclusive right to bully her. Instead of fear, Elsa responds with a flushed, enthusiastic agreement, their wavelengths aligning in the most peculiar way. Elsa clutches her racing heart, realizing she is actually looking forward to tomorrow's bullying. This twisted sweetness manifests into reality as the scene shifts to a peaceful forest picnic, where they share lunch under the shade. Yvonne is blissfully unaware of the embarrassment to come. During their picnic, Elsa excitedly mentions Prince Michel's help, a name that strikes like lightning, instantly shattering Yvonne's peaceful afternoon. So Michel's aid was at Elsa's request? Before Yvonne can process the shock, Elsa interrupts with a warm embrace. When questioned, Elsa looks at her tenderly, referencing a promise Yvonne has absolutely no memory of making. Destined soulmate? Hearing her spoiler taken as gospel sends Yvonne into a panic. The plot has completely derailed. Amidst the chaos, Yvonne desperately rationalizes. Perhaps a soulmate doesn't strictly have to be of the opposite gender. Elsa's gaze is unwavering as she declares Yvonne her one and only. This sudden, deep confession makes the villainess turn away in shame, unable to meet those clear eyes, the air thick with a tension sweeter than the flowers around them. Overwhelmed by embarrassment, Yvonne makes a flimsy excuse and flees like a deserter. Elsa calls out anxiously, watching the frantic retreat as their afternoon conversation ends in a hasty escape. During the break, Elsa clings like glue, teasing Yvonne about her blush. Faced with an invitation to the restroom, Yvonne grumbles externally but feels a nostalgic warmth inside, eventually sighing in helpless compromise. Just as the mood settles, the accursed system strikes again. A piercing alarm heralds a new mandatory task, draining the color from Yvonne's face. She gritted her teeth to hide her panic from Elsa's concerned gaze, screaming internally. Forced to execute this utterly absurd task, Yvonne lies to lead Elsa away. Staring at the command, prevent the heroine from using the restroom for 30 minutes. Her conscience aches. This is torture disguised as a prank. Yvonne hides behind a menu, eyes darting nervously with the guilt of a misdeed. The title, "It's Your Fault," hangs like a silent accusation, foreshadowing a story filled with embarrassment and entanglement. In a secluded corner by the lockers, Yvonne hugs Elsa tightly from behind, desperate to stall for time. She brings up bullying to mask the awkwardness, unaware that the girl in her arms is on the verge of collapse. The system timer hangs overhead like a death sentence. As Yvonne curses the mechanism, Elsa tearfully whispers her willingness to endure anything, a level of submission that leaves Yvonne utterly flabbergasted. 15 minutes remain. Amidst her physical limit, Elsa clutches Yvonne's hem. She fears abandonment more than the pain. Her tearful plea, "Don't leave me," causes Yvonne's heart to clench in guilt. Seeing Elsa weak, Yvonne spots a loophole. If she just can't use the restroom, blushing, she suggests a bold alternative. Elsa instantly bristles, her scream defending the last shred of her maidenly dignity. Realizing her slip, Yvonne apologizes profusely, wrapping her arms around the trembling Elsa once more. Though 10 minutes remain, witnessing Elsa's normal reaction of shame brings a strange relief. At least she hasn't completely lost her mind. Reaching her limit, Elsa collapses, but strong arms catch her just in time. Safety amidst the crisis. Facing Elsa's tearful accusation, Yvonne is consumed by guilt and devises a desperate, embarrassing solution to keep her off the dirty floor. "Sit on me," Yvonne proposes awkwardly. Elsa's mind goes blank, shock and shyness exploding in the air. A villainess's victory often comes at a price, maintained only by a facade of forced elegance. Though out of necessity, as Yvonne guides Elsa to sit, the room fills with an undeniable, suffocating intimacy. Heartbeats deafen them as seconds stretch into eternity. When the timer ends, neither truly wants to let go. The next day at school, Elsa tries to extend their intimacy, inviting Yvonne along to make up for yesterday's guilt. Faced with Elsa's overly forward invitation, Yvonne panics and refuses, leaving Elsa standing there in stunned confusion. School awkwardness dissolves into a warm home dinner. Watching Yvonne cook, Elsa nearly blurts out her desire to marry her. Watching Elsa eat, Yvonne softens. She admits, however reluctantly, that the house no longer feels empty with Elsa there. The post-meal calm is precious until Yvonne casually mentions the one forbidden topic involved in keeping a kitchen clean. "Don't say that word." Yvonne pales. Seeing the usually tough villainess terrified of bugs, Elsa can't help but smile fondly. Even a proud villainess has moments where she wants to flee, especially when facing the unspeakable. Elsa tries to comfort the terrified Yvonne with medicinal facts, only to make the horror infinitely worse. To soothe Yvonne, who is on the brink of collapse, Elsa proposes a somewhat mystical solution, a bug-repelling charm. Despite Elsa's confidence, Yvonne stands before the cupboard trembling, every nerve screaming danger. Nightmare realized. The moment the door opens, a shadow lunges, and a piercing scream shatters the roof. Fear overrides reason. Collapsed and trembling, Yvonne instinctively slaps away even Elsa's helping hand. Evie hysterically contemplates amputation over a mere insect, while Yvonne mentally plans to burn the house down. But panic gives way to tenderness as Yvonne cups her face, silencing the fear with a gentle touch. Yvonne soothes Evie's lingering paranoia with a promise of protection. After a lingering embrace, duty calls, but as Yvonne turns to leave, a wave of hesitation washes over her. Evie's tearful plea strikes Yvonne's heart like a Cupid's arrow, shattering her resolve. Unable to resist such cuteness, Yvonne invites her along, her soul practically ascending to heaven as Evie happily snuggles in. Yvonne silently thanks the heavens for this unexpected blessing, savoring the warmth of the embrace. The sweetness transitions into reality as they share a peaceful picnic under the sun, basking in domestic bliss. Hiding behind a menu, Yvonne attempts to maintain her villainous composure. Yet, her flushed cheeks and darting eyes betray a turmoil that no amount of elegance can conceal. Terror drives Evie into Yvonne's arms, sparking a bittersweet realization. Is this trust or just a lack of romantic tension? Meanwhile, Evie despairs, wondering why her confessions never seem to reach Yvonne's heart. Just as Evie savors the embrace, Yvonne pulls away, blaming the heat. Evie's look of hurt confusion stings, but Yvonne turns away, desperate to hide the nervous sweat betraying her true feelings. Yvonne tries to settle in with a book, but Evie's playful teasing about her ladyship title pierces her composure. Despite her protests, the blush rising on her cheeks reveals just how much Evie's words affect her. A casual question triggers a sudden realization. Evie's previous striptease was calculated. As Evie runs off with a mischievous laugh, Yvonne is left fuming, face burning with the knowledge that she's been played. Silence returns to the garden as Yvonne sits alone, immersed in her book. The dappled sunlight casts a peaceful glow, but beneath her composed exterior, the ripples of Evie's teasing still linger. Just as the romance novel reaches its climax, an overly enthusiastic maid interrupts. Her lightning-fast response time and suspiciously cheerful demeanor trigger Yvonne's instincts. Something about this service feels off. The menu's offer of special services sends Yvonne's imagination running wild, her face flushing at the thought. Reality blurs with fantasy as they share a picnic, the air thick with unspoken desires. Clad in her elegant gown, Yvonne stares at the menu with a mix of disdain and confusion. The script is flipping, and the loss of control brings a frown to her face as she contemplates her next move. Upon discovering the sketchy special services, Yvonne explodes, smashing the menu in a fit of protective rage. She doesn't care about profits. She's terrified that this foolish scheme will expose the girls to creeps. The maid dismisses the danger with a naive smile, pointing to her badge as a shield. But her confidence only deepens Yvonne's anxiety, leaving her staring at the girls retreating back with a knot of dread. Dread settles in as Yvonne realizes the gravity of the situation. Elsa is an otome heroine, a literal magnet for trouble. Leaving her defenseless in such an environment isn't just risky, it's a recipe for disaster. If she can't stop the system, she'll rig it. Yvonne storms back in, determination in her stride, and slams a heavy bag of coins onto the counter. She won't let anyone else have her. She's buying the whole lot. Ignoring the whispers, Yvonne points a gloved finger directly at the stunned girl. I want her. The declaration cuts through the noise, an absolute claim of possession for the rest of the day. Forced into the role of a demanding customer, Yvonne barks orders to keep up appearances. But when Elsa timidly asks if this is bullying, Yvonne's villainous mask cracks. It's not bullying, it's a desperate rescue mission. Post-meal laziness is shattered as Yvonne imperiously claims Elsa's time. Facing her master's command, Elsa complies shyly, her heart fluttering with worry that Yvonne might still be angry. Yvonne leans in close, her warning dripping with jealousy disguised as guardianship. Elsa blinks in confusion, defending her job, unaware of the deep possessiveness hidden behind the strict tone. So all that anger was just worry. Elsa realizes the truth, watching Yvonne eagerly offer financial support, thinking this villainess is acting just like a clumsy, possessive lover. Refusal isn't distance, but a desire to stand as equals. Understanding this, Yvonne switches to gentle dominance, and Elsa submits, stroking blonde hair with pure affection. The warmth of the lap pillow makes Yvonne suspicious. This unusual obedience is unsettling. Suddenly, a glaring red system window shatters the peace. A new malicious task to ruin clothes arrives, clashing with the peaceful picnic. A new chapter begins. Yvonne hides behind a menu, unable to conceal her blushing cheeks. It's a rare shyness for the villainous, hinting at the heart-pounding events to follow. The command to remove clothes sends Yvonne into a panic, her eyes darting wildly. Oblivious, Elsa leans in right then, her promise to do anything only fueling the fire. Looking for a loophole, Yvonne targets her collar accessory. Elsa understands without a word, her fingers gently unhooking the ribbon, releasing Yvonne from the system's threat. With the crisis averted, the air grows thick again. Beneath the hemlines, the distance closes, and a barely there touch speaks louder than words. Elsa rests her chin on her hands, her teasing question hitting Yvonne's blind spot. Remembering a romance novel trope, Yvonne blushes furiously. Her action was an inadvertent, shameful invitation. The misunderstanding leads to a flustered hug, then evolves into playful wrestling. From dusk till moonrise, the throbbing desire to push away, yet hold on tight, flows gently with the night. In the silence of the night, good nights were said, but Yvonne couldn't suppress her longing. She pats the empty space beside her, a whispered invitation breaking down the last line of reserve. This simple invitation brings tears to Elsa's eyes, the joy of acceptance. Memory and reality intertwine. Whether in dreams or at a picnic, the best scenery is simply having her there. Back in that moment, tears cling to Yvonne's eyes, flushed with panic from an inescapable, blunt love. The villainess's mask is already crumbling. To hide her shyness, Yvonne invents a clumsy excuse about mosquito nets. Hiding behind a paper, she issues strict warnings, missing the happiness overflowing from Elsa's blushing face. Just as Elsa lies down obediently, Yvonne calls a halt. Eyes squeezed shut in internal struggle, she finally reaches out, grasping that warmth. Sleeves rolled up, the angry red bites pierce Yvonne's heart. Sleeping on the floor wasn't just obedience, it was to shield her from insects. Guilt instantly turns into tears. By the dim lamp, Yvonne sits alone, emotions swirling. That fool protected her like this? Are you stupid? The scolding barely hides the depth of her heartache and love. The mood shifts as Yvonne applies medicine, teasing, "If I were a mosquito, I'd bite you too." This instantly ignites Elsa's imagination, transforming a tender moment into a seductive embrace by a vampire queen. Tension crackles as Yvonne traces Elsa's flushed cheek, her gaze teasing danger. Elsa, eyes hazy with desire, guides the hand down to her exposed neck, daring her to go further. Elsa's enthusiastic offer to be eaten shatters the mood, leaving Yvonne flushed with embarrassment. As the lamp flickers to life, the chaos settles into a gentle rhythm of fingers spreading soothing ointment over skin. Basking in the touch, Elsa wonders if this is a dream. Yvonne, however, is focused and gentle, her worried frown and soft warnings betraying a depth of care she tries to hide. Yvonne turns her back, exposing pale skin and asking for help. Elsa's hand hovers, the ointment burning her palm. She holds her breath, terrified that crossing this line might shatter their fragile peace. Fingers finally make contact, and Yvonne melts into the gentle touch. But when Elsa pulls away with respectful restraint, a wave of disappointment crashes over Yvonne. Why is she craving more? The light dies, letting the darkness amplify their senses. Yvonne surrenders to the pull, sliding closer until her cheek rests against Elsa's shoulder, finding safety in the rhythm of their shared heartbeat. Moonlight spills over their pillow talk. As they whisper about orphanage days and sleepless nights, Yvonne's soft praise makes Elsa's smile bloom in the shadows. Elsa weaves a tale of a scarecrow and a girl until her voice fades into sleep. Yvonne, deafened by her own racing heart, traces her lover's sleeping face with her eyes, drowning in unspoken affection. Watching her sleep, a desperate need to understand her, to be closer, blooms in Yvonne's chest. Memories of a sun-drenched picnic surface. Was her smile just as radiant back then? The after-school silence is shattered when Yvonne expects to walk home together, only to be frozen by Elsa's casual mention of a rooftop meeting. The nonchalant stings, sparking instant suspicion. A love letter, perhaps. Yvonne feigns indifference as she warns Elsa to be safe, but her retreating steps are heavy. Logic tells her to let go, while the beast of jealousy roars within. Amidst the bustling market, Yvonne grips a carrot as if it were a lifeline. A new romance route for Elsa means freedom from her villainous tasks. So why does the thought make her chest tighten with suffocation? Visions of the game's twisted male leads flood her mind, terror overriding logic. What if Elsa meets a creep? Yvonne spirals into paranoid delusions, deaf to the vendor's confused calls. I can't just leave it. Yvonne abandons her errands and sprints back to school. Meanwhile, on the rooftop, Elsa clutches the letter, her eyes dimming, wishing desperately that the one asking about it had been Yvonne. Another confession? Elsa sighs, weighed down by exhaustion. Shadows of past isolation loom. The malice born of jealousy makes her dread this unwanted attention, turning romance into a source of fear. The door slams open, revealing the haughty Alta. As the girl fumes over her mispronounced name, Elsa's gaze turns ice cold, realizing her summoner is none other than her former tormentor. Impatient and dismissive, Elsa turns to leave, her mind solely on dinner with Yvonne. Just as tension peaks, the proud Alta turns her back and awkwardly forces out the unthinkable. I'm sorry. To seal her apology, Alta offers VIP tickets to the secret garden. Elsa's eyes widen in shock. It's not just a rare gift, it's the perfect opportunity for a date with Yvonne. Faced with irresistible temptation, tears prick Elsa's eyes as desire wars with principle. Finally, taking a deep breath, she firmly pushes the gift away, leaving Alta staring in utter disbelief. The gift isn't the issue. Elsa's gaze is soft yet unyielding. Her loyalty lies with Yvonne. An apology that excludes the one she loves is meaningless, and she refuses to accept it alone. Elsa excitedly waves the hard-won golden ticket, eyes twinkling with surprise, while her friend frowns, sensing a trace of unusual conspiracy. Under cherry blossom lights, Yvonne shyly extends an invitation, and Elsa accepts without hesitation, their distance quietly shrinking with the falling petals. The sunset dyes the sky a gentle orange. Elsa keenly notices Yvonne's exceptionally good mood, and this rare softness sparks a glimmer of anticipation in her heart. The air turns thick with intimacy as Yvonne, blushing, finally summons the courage to voice the request hidden in her heart. From now on, can you call me by my name? Elsa pauses, then gently breaks down the wall of status in her heart, finally letting the name slip out with infinite tenderness. Yvonne. Responding to the call is a warm back hug. Elsa whispers teasingly in Yvonne's ear, longing to confirm this intimacy, turning from fantasy to reality. Flustered by this sudden intimacy, Yvonne cries out, "Don't get carried away," yet the soft kiss on her head makes her heart skip a beat, her face flushing red. Gazing at the sky, Elsa feels a complex mix of sweetness and reflection. This supposedly hostile relationship is irrevocably heading toward a warm, unknown future. The scene shifts to a sunny picnic, where Elsa lowers her head shyly, enjoying this rare serenity before the coming storm. The day of the official date arrives. Yvonne is dressed up but can't hide her nervousness, crumpling the menu in her hand, her eyes filled with apprehension. On the plaza bench, Yvonne pretends to read to hide her anxiety, until Elsa appears before her with a smile as bright as spring sunshine. Elsa excitedly pulls out a notebook packed with plans, but the dense schedule instantly petrifies Yvonne. This isn't a date, it's a military march. Even a carriage breakdown can't dampen Elsa's enthusiasm. She drags Yvonne toward the restaurant, her eyes shining with determination. Fate is cruel. The restaurant is closed. Just as the mood freezes, Elsa magically produces a warm picnic basket she had prepared, looking for praise. But the moment the basket opens, tragedy strikes. The carefully prepared pie is a smashed mess. Elsa's smile freezes, wanting to crawl into a hole from shame. Just as Elsa sinks into despair, a hand reaches out. Yvonne grabs the disaster without hesitation and takes a big bite. It tastes great. Yvonne's sincere praise instantly breaks Elsa's defenses, turning all her grievances into tears of overwhelming emotion. Elsa gently wipes away her tears, blooming into a relieved smile. This imperfect interlude has become the perfect footnote in their memories. Memories flash by like a revolving lantern, from bustling street snacks to the grand theater entrance, their hands remaining tightly clasped. Overwhelmed by the theater's grandeur, Yvonne unconsciously grips Elsa's arm, her fingertips turning pale from attention. Elsa gazes at her tenderly, whispering words of comfort, as if the surrounding noise fades away, leaving only the two of them. However, just as the atmosphere thickens, Yvonne abruptly stops, their clasped hands freezing in the air for a split second. Gossip drifts from the distance, piercing her ears. The rotten romances destined for the heroine are all present, triggering a sudden sense of crisis. Images of those terrible so-called male leads flash through her mind. Yvonne grits her teeth, ignited by an unprecedented protective instinct. She can never hand Elsa over to such trash. To escape those prying eyes, they flee to the sunset beach. Elsa grips that hand tightly, praying devoutly that this shard of happiness lasts forever. The sunset dyes the sea gold and crimson. Watching the girl smiling like a flower before her, the villainous script Yvonne once held firm begins to crumble. Gone is the sorrowful face from the original story. The Elsa before her is so vivid and happy. Yvonne has to admit, she has completely failed as a villainess. Talking about the lovers fighting fate in the play, hope sparkles in Elsa's eyes, while Yvonne, knowing the ending, feels a surge of bitterness in her heart. Elsa reveals the exquisite paper knife Yvonne had glanced at earlier. This delicate attention to detail makes Yvonne's eyes burn with unshed tears. Unable to refuse such affection, the moment Yvonne accepts the gift, she is pulled into a tight embrace by Elsa, the sunset witnessing this tender promise. Just as her defenses are about to crumble completely, a crimson warning window explodes like a curse, the system's malice instantly tearing the warmth to shreds. The scene before her begins to warp. The paper knife, a symbol of love, now emits a suffocating glint in the hallucination, transforming into a lethal weapon. Consciousness plummets into the abyss, the unbreakable iron law piercing her ears like a demonic chant. The villainess is an enemy who opposes the heroine. In a nightmare, another cold voice whispers from behind, temptingly coercing her to kill Elsa in exchange for freedom. "I will never hurt her." Yvonne screams hysterically, tears streaming down her face as she tries to break free from the invisible mental shackles. The blade rolls away, and Elsa lies in a pool of blood. Staring at her crimson-stained hands, the system's verdict crashes down like thunder. "Face it, you are the villainess." A scream tears through the silence as Yvonne bolts upright, clutching the sheets in terror. Panting heavily, she desperately tries to convince herself that the horror was just a nightmare. Just as relief washes over her, a sudden clatter at the window makes her shriek. To her surprise, a clumsy messenger bird swoops in, landing right on top of her head. Holding the chirping bird in her hands, Yvonne frowns in confusion. Who on earth would send her a message using such an old-fashioned method? Recognizing the family seal, she realizes her uncle has been secretly protecting her all along. With a heart full of gratitude, she decides to drift back to sleep, feeling safe at last. Waking to a soft warmth beside her, she freezes. It's Elsa in her bed. Yvonne panics, but the pink-haired girl just smiles, inviting her to keep cuddling. Yvonne turns beet red, realizing she clung to Elsa all night. Unbothered, Elsa cheerfully hops out of bed, eager to prepare a special breakfast for her beloved. But the smile hides a cruel truth. It wasn't a dream. Watching Elsa bandage her wound, guilt stabs at Yvonne's heart. She hurt the one she swore to protect. To protect her, Yvonne coldly shuts the door in Elsa's face. As the lock clicks, memories of their happy past fade, leaving her alone with her self-loathing. Scene shifts to Yvonne hiding her blushing face behind a menu. Her plan to be a cold villainess is crumbling under the weight of her own flustered heart. In the school hallway, Yvonne lurks in the shadows, desperate to avoid Elsa. Meanwhile, oblivious students swarm the new transfer student, buzzing about the prince. Watching Elsa shine in the spotlight, Yvonne feels the isolation of her villainous role. She watches from afar, terrified the system will force another cruel act. Determined to break their tragic fate, Yvonne resolves to find Elsa's soulmate. Just then, Elsa shyly confesses her type, someone cold on the outside, but gentle within. Blonde, tall, strong yet gentle, Elsa swoons over her description, while Yvonne frantically takes notes, completely missing that she is the one being described. A light bulb goes off for Elsa as she realizes it's something important. Meanwhile, Yvonne steps into an empty classroom, her heart sinking as she assumes Elsa is avoiding her. In reality, Elsa sits alone, consumed by sadness. She can't shake the memory of Yvonne holding that dagger, the cold distance in her eyes cutting deeper than any blade. Tears stream down her face as she stares at the setting sun. She desperately wants to bridge the gap, but Yvonne's silence feels like an insurmountable wall. Just as despair takes hold, something catches her eye. A note? Hope sparks instantly in her tear-filled eyes as she realizes she hasn't been forgotten. It's an invitation. Elsa beams with joy, clutching the note, while Yvonne stands by the fountain, nervously waiting for a date that breaks all her villainous rules. Elsa arrives, heart fluttering, only to find Yvonne isn't alone. Her shy greeting turns into confusion and jealousy as she points at the stranger. "Who is this?" Upon meeting, Elsa tries to be polite, only to instinctively snap back off in panic. Garth stands confused while Yvonne instantly shifts into strict sister mode, scolding her cousin for his disheveled appearance. Misunderstanding cleared, Garth reveals his injury came from saving a stray cat. Watching the kitten nuzzle against his shoe, Yvonne smiles with resigned affection. He's still the same trouble magnet brother. Holding the cat in the sunset, Yvonne feels a ripple of jealousy. Although Garth is an SSR-tier gentleman. Suddenly, Garth breaks the mood by asking to speak with Elsa alone. It turns out this was all Yvonne's plan. Suppressing the bitterness in her heart, she solemnly entrusts Elsa to her cousin, wearing an encouraging smile that masks her inner turmoil. Back on the street, Yvonne creates an excuse for Elsa to guide Garth. Before they can react, she vanishes into the crowd like a fugitive, leaving the stunned pair behind. On the twilight terrace, the air seems to freeze. Garth and Elsa stand side by side, a heavy, awkward silence stretching between them, making even breathing feel tentative. Garth tries to break the ice with a bright smile, suggesting a tour, but Elsa simply stirs her tea coldly, her downcast eyes revealing that her heart is elsewhere. After a moment of hesitation, Garth asks the crucial question, "You like Yvonne, don't you?" The spoon clatters against the cup as Elsa looks up sharply, blushing furiously, her secret instantly exposed. Meanwhile, hiding in a corner of the restaurant, Yvonne stares blankly at a menu. She thought she could let go gracefully, but the weight of carrying in her chest is heavier than she expected. Was it that obvious? Elsa covers her face in embarrassment. Garth smiles gently, remembering how Yvonne used to read with him as a child. He recognizes that look all too well. In fact, Garth possesses a special talent. He is a fanatic believer in Yuri. In his eyes, the way Elsa looks at Yvonne is a textbook example of sacred love, not to be desecrated. Now that she's been seen through, Elsa stops hiding. Stirring her tea painfully, tears welling in her eyes, she asks, she's clearly forcing a smile, "Mr. Garth, what should I do?" Garth screams internally, "Thank the Yuri gods. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to play matchmaker." Suppressing his excitement, he decides he must devise a perfect plan to protect this beautiful couple. On the other side, Yvonne continues to delude herself. Seeing the two talking happily in the distance, she suppresses her unease, trying to convince herself, "See, they really are a perfect match. This is the best ending." Yvonne chants internally, but imagining Elsa with someone else, she nearly crumples the menu. Why this jealousy? It turns out, she loves her more than she realized. The script plays out in her mind. Only if the heroine ends up with the destined male lead can she, the villainess, retire safely, even if it means severing her own red thread of fate. This is an Otome game world. The villainess is never a love option. Yvonne imprisons herself with cold logic, while in the distance, Garth sighs, "Oh sister, why do you torture yourself so?" Elsa's voice sounds shattered in the night. "I could have accepted keeping things as they were, so why is Yvonne pushing me away?" Her outstretched hand hangs in the air, unable to grasp the person trying to flee. The scene freezes on hands clutching a teacup. Yvonne finally realizes that her self-righteous sacrifice is, to the one who loves her deeply, a cruel rejection. The blonde leans in with burning intensity, her urgent words seeking to ignite a spark of hope. She vows to stand as a guardian knight, her determination shining like sunlight through clouds, aiming to dispel the hesitation in the pink-haired girl's eyes. On the terrace, the pink-haired girl clenches her fists in excitement, plan in hand, while Garth panics and tries to stop her. The scene shifts as Yvonne arrives. Garth deflects her questions with a stiff smile, barely hiding the secret beneath his nervous demeanor. A cheerful wave from afar strikes like a thunderclap of shock for the observer. Yvonne's pupils constrict, a silent question lodged in her throat, as her calm composure is instantly shattered by the scene unfolding before her. Under the dusk sky, the truth is revealed with a sly smile. The casual remark, "Because you two are already lovers," lands like a heavy hammer, instantly shattering Yvonne's relief and filling the air with suffocating awkwardness and shock. Sunlight floods the restaurant as Yvonne frantically raises a menu to hide her face, failing to conceal the blush spreading across her cheeks. Intending to show disdain, her darting eyes instead betray her overwhelming shyness and confusion. Recalling Elsa's outrageous lie, Yvonne is consumed by a mix of shame and indignation, ready to demand an explanation. But the carriage speeds away, leaving the culprit waving from a distance, while Yvonne shouts helplessly into the empty air. The carriage wheels clatter over the cobblestones, carrying the farewell into the distance. A gaze from the window holds complex gratitude. Though the farce has ended, it leaves behind heavy thoughts and ripples in everyone's hearts that won't easily settle. In the quiet tea room, the aroma of tea cannot mask the tension in the air. Yvonne finally asks the question, her eyes a mix of confusion and blame, searching for a reasonable explanation behind that gentle, smiling face opposite her. Faced with Yvonne's interrogation, Elsa shows no remorse, only an enigmatic, shy smile. Her finger lightly touching her lips suggests she's savoring a sweet illusion, instantly turning Yvonne's anger into a flustered blush. Absolutely not. Yvonne slams the table, her vehement denial echoing through the room, yet unable to stop the hurt in the other's eyes. Despite her harsh words, her hand trembling around the teacup betrays her wavering heart upon seeing that aggrieved expression. Seeing the direct approach fail, Elsa secretly initiates Plan B, a playful smirk curling her lips. Yvonne senses the danger and massages her temples wearily, attempting to draw a line with a tone that carries a final warning. Silence spreads between them as Yvonne's gaze grows cold. She takes a deep breath, trying to build a wall with icy rationality to keep the pink-haired figure, who constantly crosses the line, out of her heart. Yvonne grips her teacup until her knuckles turn white, trying to mask her loss of control with rational excuses. Elsa isn't swayed by these high-sounding reasons. She looks up, her calm, yet soul-piercing question instantly tearing away Yvonne's mask. I don't care at all. Elsa's tearful cry cuts like a knife, only to be parried by Yvonne's fiercer rage. Turning her back, Yvonne's clenched fists reveal her agony, desperate to push her away, yet caring more deeply than ever before. To sever their bond completely, Yvonne forces open the ugliest scars, invoking bloody memories. Elsa tries to plaster over the cracks with a smile, but her trembling hands and hollow eyes shatter under the brutal assault of Yvonne's words. You know I did this because I hate you, right? The cold words fall, frosting the stagnant air. Yvonne's gaze is indifferent, performing this fake hatred to perfection, solely to push the other person to a safe distance. Patience finally snaps. Yvonne buries her face in her hands, her voice choked and broken. This protection disguised as harm has not only wounded Elsa, but pushed her own spirit to the brink of collapse. All pretense is crumbling in this instant. Back in that sunny afternoon, Yvonne looks desolate despite her elegant attire. Menu in hand, her mind drifts far away, lost in vexation at her own stupidity and a deep sense of helplessness regarding this unsolvable relationship. Please, don't forget our promise. Elsa reaches out through her tears, grasping for a final straw. Yet Yvonne can only cruelly feign amnesia, letting both their hearts plummet into the abyss of lies and misunderstanding amidst a gaze of terror and despair. Fingertips brush, the air thick with pink romantic tension, promising a destined kiss. But a cold system alert suddenly rings out, ruthlessly shattering the fantasy and dragging reality back to its cruel track. Desperate to protect Elsa, Yvonne steals her heart. She snaps, standing abruptly and screaming for distance, watching in horror as heartbreak fractures the eyes of the one she loves. Words cut like knives as Yvonne turns her back, ordering her to leave, afraid to look back. Behind her, Elsa suppresses a sob. Her trembling acceptance echoes with gut-wrenching pain. The lock clicks, sealing her isolation. Alone in the silence, Yvonne sinks into deep self-loathing. She tries to don the villainess's mask once more, forcing herself to embrace a fated loneliness. Meanwhile, laughter fills the sunlit classroom, but surrounded by peers, Elsa feels like an isolated island. Praise sounds hollow to her ears as she questions her own worth, unable to truly connect. Just studied late, she lies, forcing the corners of her lips upward. The clumsy excuse fails to hide her red-rimmed eyes, a fragile smile masking a soul on the verge of shattering. Watching Elsa's frail figure, Yvonne's heart bleeds. Though the architect of this pain, she instinctively prepared rice balls, now drowning in a tidal wave of regret that makes it hard to breathe. This cannot continue. Clutching the rice ball, Yvonne resolves to use lunch to break the ice. Even as a villainess, she chooses selfishness, desperate to reclaim the one person who matters most. However, just as Yvonne gathers the courage to speak, classmates intercept with their own invitation. She freezes, watching helplessly as her chance for reconciliation slips through her fingers. Seeing Elsa smile and accept, Yvonne hides behind the door, the lunchbox heavy in her arms. She watches like an outsider, bitterness spreading wildly through her chest as she witnesses the separation. Watching them drift away, Yvonne leans weakly against the frame. Tears blur her vision as she mocks her own stupidity, left alone with the desolation of pushing away the one she loves. Lunch alone feels deafeningly quiet. Sitting in the shade, Yvonne realizes she's lost the habit of solitude. What was once normal now feels unbearably lonely and difficult to endure. Tears unbidden blur her sight. It's just temporary, she lies to herself, unable to suppress the terrifying thought. Elsa will make new friends and forget her completely. Inside the box lie star-shaped treats, Elsa's favorites. As Yvonne hesitates, a sudden noise from above pricks her ears. Danger is descending upon her quiet moment. Her worst nightmare. Countless worms drop from the canopy. Yvonne screams, shielding the lunchbox. She fears the bugs, but fears the ruin of her gift for Elsa even more. I haven't even apologized. She squeezes her eyes shut, desperate to protect this bond. Suddenly, the chaos ceases. The swarm retreats eerily, as if banished by an unseen force. Opening her eyes, she sees the very person haunting her thoughts. Elsa stands there, magic glowing in her hand. Her promise to protect leaves Yvonne shocked and bewildered, as if in a dream. Elsa sits down casually, complaining about cafeteria food while eyeing the bento. Watching this reclaimed warmth, the ice around Yvonne's heart quietly begins to melt. I will never leave you, no matter what. Elsa gently grasps her hand. This unconditional acceptance shatters Yvonne's defenses, guilt and gratitude finally spilling over as tears. Under the falling cherry blossoms, Elsa gently whispers the word friend. Simple yet profound, it shatters Yvonne's defenses. Seeing Yvonne's tear-filled eyes, Elsa realizes that despite any resolve to be cold, she simply cannot turn away from such vulnerability. To lighten the mood, Elsa offers an apology gift. As Yvonne distractedly looks for the bug Elsa pointed out, Elsa leans in close, stealing a soft kiss on her cheek in a moment of defenseless surprise. The kiss leaves Yvonne completely short-circuited, clutching her burning cheek and stammering. Elsa giggles mischievously, declaring the debt paid. As they lean against each other, a sweet tension lingers in the air, leaving Yvonne's heart racing uncontrollably. The picnic continues as Elsa boldly opens her mouth, demanding to be fed. Yvonne grumbles about her being presumptuous, yet her hands honestly offer the food. This tsundere indulgence only deepens the smile in Elsa's eyes. Scene shifts to the library. To ease Ms. Yuna's burden, Elsa busily carries a towering stack of books. Bathed in sunlight, the heroine, who should be a target, serves cheerfully without a single complaint. Seeing Elsa's angel-like smile, Ms. Yuna feels both touched and guilty. Elsa doesn't mind the work. She thanks the teacher instead. Watching her leave, Yuna feels relieved, unaware that an uninvited guest is about to arrive. Lost in thought, Yuna worries about Elsa's kindness making her a target, especially for that imposing rich girl, Yvonne. Just as her guard goes up, footsteps interrupt her. The dreaded villainess has arrived. Speak of the devil. Yvonne appears by the bookshelf, her cold aura instantly dominating the room. Terrified, Yuna trembles but tries to maintain her teacher's dignity, unaware that this bad student has a specific agenda. Before Yuna can act tough, Yvonne cuts her off. With a sharp gaze, she demands to know why Yuna keeps overworking Elsa. She isn't here to cause trouble. She's here to protect her girl. Yvonne sternly warns Yuna not to exploit Elsa's people-pleasing nature. Stunned, Yuna stares at the girl with crossed arms. It hits her. Yvonne isn't bullying Elsa. She's heartbreakingly worried about her. The misunderstanding clears instantly. Panicked by the realization, Yuna bows dramatically to apologize. Her sudden, loud outburst startles Yvonne, the sound echoing comically through the quiet library. Yuna guiltily admits her prejudice, but Yvonne brushes it off, advising the teacher to command more authority. In this moment, their relationship shifts, finding a subtle harmony and mutual understanding. Yuna sighs in relief, smiling. So you aren't actually bullying her, right? But to maintain her villain persona for the system, Yvonne looks away and lies flatly. No, I actually am. Yuna is left petrified. Just then, Elsa peeks in looking for Yvonne, breaking the tension. Trying to keep up her lie, Yvonne offers to accept punishment, leaving Elsa completely confused. Their mismatched conversation only adds to the hilarity. Watching from the sidelines, Yuna sees Elsa linking arms with Yvonne, smilingly claiming she enjoys the bullying. Seeing their intimate bond, Yuna realizes these two definitely don't need anyone worrying about them. When Elsa casually mentions, "We live together," Yuna's internal monologue explodes. Amidst imaginary pink bubbles, the teacher's worldview reconstructs itself. Just how far has their relationship actually gone? After Elsa leaves, Yvonne awkwardly turns back, quietly offering her help in the future. Struck by this gap Yuna impulsively calls her Ivani, making the tsundere lady blush instantly. Before the sunset-lit clock tower, Yuna smiles with closed eyes, feeling utterly content. Misunderstandings cleared and a real couple spotted. The teacher holds high hopes for her students' bright future. Night falls, and Yvonne drifts into a dream. Curled up in the endless, dark, starry void, she feels a warm hand patting her head. A shadowed figure makes a vow of eternal protection, dispelling the loneliness in her heart. Waking from the dream, Yvonne feels an unprecedented warmth and peace. Her body feels light as she groggily opens her eyes, subconsciously murmuring that name. Evie. The protection in the dream and the attachment in reality overlap in this moment. Sunlight floods the classroom as Elsa rests her chin on her hand, gazing fondly at a sleepy Yvonne. Accused of watching, she admits it without shame, leaving the disheveled Yvonne blushing and flustered about her undone ribbon. Yvonne tries to play the strict guardian, fixing a collar, unaware that the proximity is the real danger. Elsa's burning cheeks aren't a fever. They're the result of those gentle hands touching a heart that's beating wildly. If the heat is unbearable, why not cheat with magic? Yvonne summons a prank of the wind elf, and seeing the cool breeze lift Elsa's hair and spark a delighted smile becomes the perfect magical reward. Meanwhile, a new chapter of the story unfolds. Elsa gushes over Yvonne's magical control, her innocence heartbreaking. Yvonne maintains a polite smile, but dread coils inside her. She knows the script too well, and how easily this power is destined to spiral out of control. I'll teach you everything. Elsa's sincere offer is blindingly bright. Yvonne looks at the girl who should be her enemy, pushes down her fear, and masks the looming crisis with a domestic question about dinner. Misunderstandings bloom wildly. Elsa is lost in the sweet fantasy of acceptance, while Yvonne is terrified by her sister's warning. Slip into caretaker mode, and any spark of romance will be extinguished instantly. The sky turns gray, trapping them under the eaves. As rain falls, Yvonne's body reacts faster than her mind, instinctively reaching to shield Elsa, a protective urge etched too deep to hide. Crisis strikes. The system's red countdown is a death sentence, forcing her to push the heroine down the stairs. Gritting her teeth, Yvonne frantically calculates a loophole, a ridiculous hug and roll to satisfy the task without hurting Elsa. A miracle occurs. With a static glitch, a new option appears. Let the heroine get wet. Yvonne stares in disbelief. The ruthless system has, for once, offered her a singular act of mercy in the rain. Gotcha! Since the system offered a chance, she'll turn it into a game. Yvonne splashes water with a playful wink, watching Elsa's shock melt into a radiant smile as the tension finally breaks. The memory fades, leaving Yvonne by the window, the menu trembling in her hand. As the scenes replay in her mind, tears prick her eyes, relief from the near disaster mixing with the overwhelming weight of their bond. Back in the rain, Elsa spins like a child, reveling in the freedom. Yvonne scolds her, calling her an idiot, but faithfully holds their bags, willing to be the buzzkill guardian who keeps her safe. Join me? At Elsa's soaking wet invitation, Yvonne's last defense crumbles. With teary eyes, she takes the outstretched hand, choosing to drop her noble dignity and fall into the rain alongside her. Even indoors, the humid intimacy lingers. Yvonne dries her hair, muttering about catching a cold, but there's no sting in her voice, only the affectionate warmth left over from the rain. A sneeze shatters the peace, triggering Yvonne's mom radar. See, she scolds with a frown, yet her hands are impossibly gentle as she wraps the towel around the pink head that causes her so much worry. Fingertips graze Elsa's slender neck, and Yvonne's heart skips a beat. Simple care shifts into something more. She panics, realizing she's crossing the safety line of friendship, unable to hide her trembling desire. Roles reverse as Elsa takes the lead with a smile. Wind and fire magic blend perfectly into a warm breeze. Yvonne stares in amazement. The girl she protects has been working hard to warm her in return. With dry hair and a warmed heart, Yvonne strokes her locks, smiling genuinely for the first time today. A simple thanks carries the weight of their mutual tenderness and unspoken understanding. The clumsy attempt to help backfires instantly. Gravity betrays Yvonne as she turns to leave, sending her crashing to the floor and collapsing the distance between them once more. The mishap melts into a tender embrace. Bathed in golden sunlight, Elsa nestles closer, her voice dropping to a whisper as she offers a promise that sets the air on fire. I'm all yours, anytime. Panic sets in. Yvonne scrambles away, fleeing to the safety of chores to hide her burning face. Left behind, Elsa touches her lips, regretting the stolen kiss that never happened. Night descends, wrapping their unspoken desires in silence. The bedroom door closes, sealing in the lingering sweetness of the day's near misses. Yvonne stares at the menu, but reality warps. Visions of Elsa flood her mind, flushed, breathless, and looking at her with a hunger that feels dangerously real. The fantasy intensifies. Elsa offers herself completely, her voice dripping with seduction. Yvonne stiffens, swallowing hard as her resolve crumbles against the overwhelming tide of temptation. Yvonne jolts awake, cold sweat clinging to her skin. Elsa is there instantly, feigning innocence as she seizes the chance to propose, sharing a bed for comfort. Humiliated and furious, Yvonne hurls a pillow at the half-naked Elsa and storms out, slamming the door. Alone in the hall, she buries her face in her hands, mortified by her own subconscious desires. While Elsa basks in the lingering scent of Yvonne on her pillow, reality strikes elsewhere. The teacher announces final grades, casting a heavy, suffocating gloom over the classroom. Second place isn't enough to save her family. Yvonne sinks under the weight of expectation, her anxiety only briefly lifted by the ringing bell that signals the freedom of summer vacation. Golden light floods the library, melting away the tension. Yvonne, Elsa, and Yuna chat by the shelves, the atmosphere shifting from academic rivalry to the gentle warmth of friendship. Under the setting sun, the conversation turns personal. When asked about visiting home, a shadow falls over Yvonne's face. Political chains make a reunion impossible, a pain she hides behind a quiet smile. Elsa mentions visiting the orphanage, the site of the original plot. But Yvonne throws a curveball. She's staying behind to work. She's rewriting the script, leaving Elsa utterly baffled. Because you are here. Just as the unspoken realization sinks in, a sudden interruption, a bird swooping down, shatters the moment, startling them both into a comedic panic. It's not a random bird, but a messenger. Elsa hands over the letter, her expression unreadable. Yvonne stares at it, a knot of dread tightening in her stomach before she even breaks the seal. Yvonne tears, open the envelope. Her eyes go wide, the color draining from her face. It's bad news. Dahlia is in grave danger. The peaceful summer vanishes in an instant. The peaceful days come to an abrupt halt, marking the beginning of a new storm. Credits page and translator notes follow. Bonus scene. To curb her nightly ambushes, Elsa sews an Yvonne doll. But when the real Yvonne showers the doll with affection, Elsa's eyes narrow. She's actually jealous of her own creation. Just as the Yuri energy runs low, a letter arrives like a lifeline. The tender observations of Elsa within replenish the soul instantly. Batteries fully recharged.